Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Hollingsworth. Today for reading time, we are going to look at a book called One Happy Classroom. And the author is Charnan Simon. She thought up the story to write a book about a classroom. And it's illustrated by Rebecca McPhillip Thornburg. And the illustrator means she drew the pictures. So she illustrated the book. She drew the pictures. So, One Happy Classroom. And then the sign they're holding says, Our Kindergarten. So they're in kindergarten just like we are. So let's look at this book and see what happens in their kindergarten. One Happy Classroom. One happy classroom. Two smiling teachers. Three leaning towers made by four busy builders. Five show and tellers. Hey, this book is doing something with numbers. Think about that for a minute. What's going on with this book with numbers? Six good listeners. Seven great painters using 8 different colors. Nine pairs of partners. Ten crunchy apples. Nine high climbers over 8 hide and seekers. Oops. Seven quiet resters. Not everyone's resting quiet, but 7 of them are. You might want to pause the screen and count 7. Do you see the 7 that are resting quietly? Six in a hurry. This door down here, it says boys. And I bet the other one says girls. Where do we go that the doors are labeled boys, girls? Think about that for a minute. I bet you know. Five big projects and 4 busy workers. Three clean cages. Two stuck zippers. like they're getting ready to go home at the end of the day. One happy classroom. Oh boy, that classroom looks like they had a lot of fun during the day. All right. So we stopped to think a minute during the book about the numbers. The author was doing something with numbers on this page, in this book. And on each page, there was a different number word that we talked about. And at first we started with 1, and we went up to 10 things. Then at 10, we started counting backwards, and we went back down to 1. So that was a fun thing the author decided to do with the book, was to make it a counting book. So we could go back and count some things in this book. Another thing this book showed us was some fun things that might happen in a kindergarten classroom. So think about that for a minute. What was something in their kindergarten classroom that you thought looked really cool, or that maybe you hoped would be in your kindergarten classroom when we come back to school? So those are some things we can think about. If you have your stuffed animal, you can pause the video and you can talk to them and tell them what you really thought was cool about the classroom in this book. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to think about what we would need to do to have a happy classroom. Okay? So when we come to school, we're going to talk together and decide together some things that we want to have in our classroom, some rules that we want to have to ensure that we have a happy classroom and a safe classroom. So we're going to look through this book and we're going to look at some pages, because on each page there's an example of a way we can make our room a happy classroom. On the first page, everything is nice and neat. Everything is in its spot. And that helps us to have a happy classroom. When all the materials are where they're supposed to go. There's not a lot of things on the floor to trip over, because that wouldn't be safe. And one of our rules is to always be safe and have a safe place at school. So that page showed us how. Oh, look on this page. The children are coming in. They're greeting each other. They're talking nicely. They're saying hello to their friends. So they're using nice words. That's something we talk about at school, is using nice words to each other. Look at this boy right here and this girl. They kind of look like they're running in the classroom. So I want you to think about that. Would that be safe to be running in the classroom? They might run into someone. They might run into a chair or a table and hurt themselves. So let's think about whether that's a safe thing to do in the classroom. Then we might want to think about, well, where would it be okay for us to run? Because we do need to exercise and we do need to get our wiggles and our energies out. So where would it be okay for us to run and chase our friends? All right, let's look at the next page. Oh, look at this page. They're using the blocks. They're working together. They're having good teamwork. That's something we would want to talk about in our classroom, about working together and having teamwork. They're sharing the blocks. There's not one kid that's trying to take all the blocks. They're sharing. Oh, they're having show and tell. And they're showing their things. Some of the friends are being good listeners. Some of the friends not so much. So that's something we would want to talk about too. is when our friends are talking or sharing, we want to be respectful to them and be listeners when they're talking and sharing, just like we would want them to listen and be respectful when it's our turn to share. So that's something we might talk about. 6 good listeners. That goes back to being respectful and being a listener when someone else is talking. Yeah, when the teacher's reading a book, everyone should be listening. Those are some good things to think about. Oh wow, look on this page. They're all painting. They're all using the materials correctly. They're painting on the paper. They've got their paint smocks on. They're not getting paint everywhere. Well, one of them's dripping a little bit. Here's a little boy that's dripping a little bit. That's okay. He's not doing it on purpose. He's not painting on the floor on purpose. Sometimes at school we get a little messy and we just clean it up. Let's look on this page. Up here they're in line and they're walking to the cafeteria for lunch. This sign up here says lunchroom. And I can see they have their lunch boxes and their lunch sacks. When we get to school, we have something at Deering called hall walk. And that's how we walk when we're in the hall. And we'll learn how to do that. We do it very quietly because we want to be respectful to the children that are in other classrooms who are still learning. So we do it very quietly. We face forward and we walk forward because that's safe. If we're running or skipping around or walking backwards, we might fall or trip or bump into someone else, and that wouldn't be safe. So we'll learn all about hall walk when we get to school. And now they're in the cafeteria. They're sitting, they're eating. They're being respectful with their food and having manners. No one is running around. I bet mom and dad in our families, they talk to you about having manners when you eat. So we talk about that at school too. Up and on the playground. Everyone's being safe. So we have some rules on the playground that help keep us safe. That's our main goal on the playground, is to be safe. To use the equipment the correct way so that no one gets hurt. Seven quiet resters. Not everyone's resting quietly. I hope they're being respectful and being quiet because this friend is wanting to rest. They're waiting patiently their turn to go to the restroom. They're waiting quietly in the hallway. That's very good manners. We have rules like that too when we go to the restroom. There's a lot of children working hard on their project. He's kind of playing and goofing off. So he might need to get back on task. That's something we work on. We make sure we get our work done first. And then when we get our work done, then we have time to do some things like that. Let's see. They're being responsible. They have some classroom pets, and they're being responsible. They're helping take care of their classroom pets. They're cleaning their cages and taking good care of them. That's being very responsible. They're getting ready to go. People are getting their things together, putting it in their backpacks, getting their jackets on, getting ready to go home. There's some who are asking for help, who need some help. And our last page. Oh no. We would never leave our classroom looking like this, right? Right. I want you to compare. This is at the end of the school day. And let's look at how it looked at the beginning of the school day. The beginning of the school day, it looked like this. So we would want our classroom to look like this before we went home at the end of the day, right? One of the things we talk about is it's a very simple rule. If you make a mess, clean it up. If you need help, we help each other clean it up. We put things back where they belong. All right. So what I want you to do today for your activity is I want you to think about what would be a good rule or a good expectation for us to have in our classroom that would help us to have a happy classroom. So think about something we talked about. We talked about a lot of things on these pages, like sharing and being a good listener and putting things back where they go, being safe in the classroom and on the playground. So I want you to think about some things like that and draw a picture about what you think would be a good classroom rule to keep our class happy. And you can get a grown-up to help you write what that is. So if you want to draw about sharing, you can draw a great picture, and then you could have your grown-up help you write down that your picture is about sharing. Or if you want to draw a picture about another one we talked about. Okay? So we can do that. We can take a picture and upload it into Seesaw so your teacher can be sure and have a look at it. Okay? Because I know we're going to get some great ideas, and I can't wait, and your teachers can't wait to see and hear them. So have fun drawing your picture, and I hope you enjoyed listening to One Happy Classroom. Bye.